If this is true, it is unreal. Here goes.
Excerpts of this because I think it's that important.
This guy was arrested and put in prison for 8 years. They tried to kill him. Congressional individual.
He says, Mr. Speaker, we are here now in Chapter 11. Members of Congress are official trustees presiding over the greatest reorganization of any bankrupt entity in the world's history, the U.S. government. We are setting forth, hopefully, a blueprint for our future. There are some who would say it's a coroner's report that will lead to our demise. It is an established fact that the United States federal government has been dissolved by the Emergency Banking Act of March 9th, 1933.
And so this is by President Roosevelt, and this is what he said he had feared that he had done the demise of this country in. And it basically says that all state agencies and federal agencies and departments are in existence only by name, and it is an illusion. And they're controlled by this banking system.
Declared by President Roosevelt, being bankrupt and insolvent. The United States agencies, government offices, officers, and departments of the United States and federal government exist only in name only. The illusion. They're in name only. He goes on to tell us, and I will not read the entire congressional record, but I want to finish by saying, quote, he says, unwittingly, America has returned to its pre-American Revolution, feudal roots, whereby all land is held by a sovereign, and common people had no rights to hold a allodial title of property. Now, I've heard this at various meetings, that we don't own our property, and I've left and I thought, what are they talking about? We don't have a allodial title? Well, what does that mean? Well, we own our property, we're paying property taxes, and it seemed like we owned our property. They just haven't claimed it yet. And that's what's happening with UN Agenda 21 and the Wildlands Project. They're claiming their stuff. It goes on to tell us that once again, we the people are tenants and sharecroppers, renting our own property from a sovereign in the guise of the Federal Reserve Bank. We the people have exchanged one master for another. This has been going on over 80 years without the informed knowledge of the American people, without a voice protesting loud enough. Now it's easy to grasp why America is fundamentally bankrupt. Why don't more people own their properties outright? Why are 90% of Americans mortgaged to the hilt and have little or no assets after all debts and liabilities have been paid? Why does it feel like you are working harder and harder and getting less and less? We are reaping what has been sown, and the results of our harvest is a painful bankruptcy and a foreclosure on American property, precious liberties, and the way of life. Few of our elected representatives in Washington, D.C. have dared to tell you the truth. The federal United States is bankrupt. Our children will inherit this unpayable debt and the tyranny to enforce paying it. And we're seeing that tyranny of enforcement of paying our debt coming by way of climate action plans, One Bay Area plans. This is the tyranny to pay back the debt. Concluding, America has been completely bankrupt in world leadership, financial credit, and its reputation for courage, vision, and human rights. This is a declared economic war, bankruptcy, economic slavery of the most corrupt order. Wake up, America, and take your country back. He concluded with that, and he was put in prison for about 8 years.
Incredible. I'll give you a full link to this. There's much more to this. I'm afraid it's more true than fiction.